Friends, the memory of Indian Air Force providing cover to the Indian Army and Navy during the 1971 Bangladesh Liberation War is a potent one. This was the first time that the world witnessed India's air power that seemed ready to take on any challenge. And the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war has taught us that our battles are our own. Unless another state is able to see an advantage for itself, it doesn't usually stand up in support during a crisis. Hence, India should find itself in its best position in the face of a crisis. In his book, The Art of War, Sun Tzu said that if you know the enemy and know yourself, you need not fear the result of 100 battles. We can only understand the strength of our Air Force when we are able to gauge the power of the threats we face, especially today when the narrative of war seems to be changing and when India is living under a shadow of threat from its neighbor. Can the IAF display the same courage? To ask this question is to no doubt the IAF, but to find out if it has enough resources at its command. But therefore, we got the answer. In today's video, we are also going to look at the history of Indian Air Force. We will discuss where the IAF stands with respect to the Pakistani Air Force and Chinese Air Force. Finally, we will take a look at the concerns that need to be addressed. So let's get started. Friends, the Indian Air Force or IAF is the air arm of the Indian Armed Forces, whose mission is to secure the Indian airspace and conduct aerial warfare during armed conflict. It was established on 8 October 1932 as a supporting Air Force unit of the British Empire. In fact, during World War II, IAF played a major role alongside Royal Air Force. During the 1965 India-Pakistan War, IAF had raided multiple air bases in Pakistan. And in 1971, during the Bangladesh Liberation War, it had provided cover to the Indian land troops by conducting 2,000 sorties. If we look at recent operations, in 2019, under Operation Bandar, IAF destroyed Jaish-e-Mohammed camps in Pakistan. Moreover, IAF's mission is not limited to engaging with hostile forces. It also participates in the United Nations peacekeeping missions. It has also carried out a number of rescue operations, like Operation Rahat during the 2015 Uttarakhand floods, under which the IAF carried out a massive rescue mission. Then in 2022, IAF rescued the Indians stuck in Ukraine under Operation Ganga. Indian Air Force is commanded by the Chief of the Air Staff or CAF. There are 7 commands in IAF: Western, Eastern, Central, Southwestern, Southern, Training and Maintenance. The units and offices of these commands are present all over India, ensuring aerial protection. You will be surprised to know that when IAF was established, it was a small unit comprising 3 officers and a fleet of 19 Sipais. Today, the Indian Air Force is the 4th largest air force in the world with nearly 170,000 active personnel. When it comes to India's aerial weapons, IAF has nearly 1,700 aircrafts including Rafale, Sukhoi 30, MiG-29 air defense aircraft and Mirage 2000 multi-role aircraft. Apart from these, the indigenous light combat Tejas aircraft would soon be replacing MiG-21s completely. The first batch of Rafale fighter jets manufactured by France arrived in India in 2020. Rafale's wide range of weapons adds to its speciality. These wide range of weapons include Meteor missile, Scalp cruise missile and MICA weapon system. Meteor Next Generation's Beyond Visual Range (BVR) is an air-to-air missile that has been designed to revolutionize air-to-air combat. Moreover, the ability to strike air targets from a distance of 150 km and targets within 300 km inside the enemy territory makes Rafale one of the world's deadliest fighter jets. Our pilots have also good practical experience of high-altitude combat missions. India is in a good position when it comes to high-altitude war because many aircrafts are capable of flying in all kinds of weather at high altitudes with the support of nearby air bases. Moreover, the strategic location of our bases along the LAC ensures uninterrupted support to our aerial assets. The IAF fleet includes nearly 6 airborne early warning and control aircrafts, which can keep an eye on any aircraft or missile coming from the enemy side. When it comes to helicopters, India has an advanced rotorcraft fleet which is capable of putting up a challenge to the neighboring forces. IAF's helicopter like CH-47F Chinook, Mi-26, Mi-8, Mi-17, etc. are used for heavy and medium lift strategy and utility roles, whereas HAL light combat helicopters and HAL Rudra attack helicopters are dedicated to combat missions. The recently inducted Boeing AH-64E Apache attack helicopters are especially useful to IAF for carrying out missions over the rugged mountains terrain along the Indo-China border in all kinds of weather. Moreover, combat-proven aerial platforms like AH-64E Apache and CH-47F Chinook ensure reliability during conflicts. The modern fleet of IAF's transport aircraft help in the fast transfer of equipments and supplies in the areas of operation. Sukhoi 30 MKI operates as IAF's primary air superiority fighter with the capability of performing air-to-ground strike missions. Currently, more than 270 Sukhoi 30 MKIs operate in the IAF. Sukhoi jets are heavy, all-weather, long-range fighter planes. Quite interestingly, in January 2020, Sukhoi 30 MKI squadron armed with BrahMos missiles was inducted into Southern Air Command. Sukhoi jets have been modified to carry BrahMos air-to-surface missiles in order to make them capable of long-range precision strikes. BrahMos missile is a supersonic cruise missile which is a joint venture of India's DRDO and Russia's NPOM. Not just that, BrahMos is one of the world's fastest cruise missile with a speed of 2.8 Mach. This is 3 times more than the speed of sound. BrahMos provide a combat radius of almost 1500 km to Sukhois without any need for mid-air refueling. Moreover, BrahMos is the heaviest weapon deployed on Sukhoi 30 MKI fighter aircraft. IAF is also introducing indigenous HL Tejas 4th generation multi-role light fighters which would replace MiG-21 interceptor aircraft. Friends, India's location in Asia makes it vulnerable to attacks from both sides. On one hand, China's expansionist policy have led to an escalation of a number of border issues, thereby creating a threat of war. On the other hand, the situation with Pakistan is fragile too. Moreover, it cannot be denied that India, China, and Pakistan are all nuclear weapon countries. Any war between them could escalate to a nuclear war. Hence, we need to remain alert at all times and ensure that we have enough quality military equipment at our disposal. Now the question is, are India's aircraft capable of protecting India compared to the air force of two of its major rivals, China and Pakistan? Let's have a look at the strength and capability of the aerial weapons of both these states. The Chinese Air Force, also known as People's Liberation Army Air Force or PLAAF, is the world's second biggest air force. PLAAF is organized in 5 commands including Eastern Theater Command, Southern Theater Command, Western Theater Command, Northern Theater Command, and Central Theater Command. China has nearly 330,000 active duty members. The Chinese Air Force is stronger than IAF as far as fleet and strategic inventory is concerned. But IAF has more experienced troops, reliable platforms, and strategic bases which help India to deploy its strength. The Chinese Air Force has an inventory of more than 2,700 aircrafts, which is 1,700 more than what India has. Moreover, China has more number of long-range strategic bomber fleet and airborne early warning and control system aircraft and combat drones than India. China's bomber forces including H-6 Badger bomber variants. This long-range aircraft can carry 6 land attack cruise missiles or LACMs with the help of which PLAAF can easily target any part of India with precision. India doesn't have such bombers at this moment. On the other hand, Chinese Air Force has 20 airborne early warning and control system aircrafts which can help China secure a victory in case of a war. The S-400 Triumph SAM system has also been inducted in the Chinese Air Force. India too hopes to have them by end of this year. Friends, we already know that IAF pilots are capable of flying at high altitudes, whereas Chinese Air Force lacks such practical experience. Chinese Air Force is forced to operate with limited supplies and fuels from its air bases near Tibet during bad weather. Although PLAF has started inducting 5th generation fighter like J-20, it is not considered to be superior than Rafale's 4th generation aircrafts in the IAF. Chinese aerial assets could be under significant threat from Rafale fighters armed with Meteor very long range and MICA beyond visual range air-to-air missiles. Now let's have a look at Pakistan Air Force. Pakistan Air Force or PAF is the 8th position among the world. It possesses 70,000 active duty personnel and at least 970 aircraft. The pilot to aircraft ratio in PAF is 2.5, while in IAF it is 1.5. This ratio implies that in case of a full-scale war, PAF might have an advantage over India due to more pilots. Pakistan has JF-17 American F-16, Mirage 3, Mirage 5, and F-7 jets along with 22 squadrons. According to reports, JF-17 fighter jet features and technologies are quite similar to China's J-20 fighter jet because these fighter planes have been made in partnership with China. So they stand no chance against Rafale jets. Moreover, Pakistan has 425 combat aircrafts including Chinese origin F-7 PJ jets. According to the International Institute for Strategic Studies, PAF has 7 airborne, early warning and control aircrafts compared to 6 in the Indian Air Force. Also, China and Pakistan both currently have no missile like BrahMos, which puts India in an advantageous position. There is no doubt that the Indian Army, Air Force and Navy is ready for a war. However, this discussion has revealed that the IAF lags behind Pakistan and China in certain aspects. These are the areas that India needs to address if it wants to ensure complete protection. Some of the prominent areas of concern are pilots and squadrons, airborne, early warning and control aircraft, advanced aircraft, etc. In fact, in light of the fundamental changes in the nature of warfare, Air Chief Marshal Vivek Ram Chaudhary had said that India's security dynamics faces multifaceted threats and challenges which require the building up of multi-domain capabilities. According to reports, by 2021, IAF had 30 squadrons. There is a plan to increase this number to 35 in the next 10 years. Every squadron has a minimum of 15 to 20 aircrafts. Moreover, India needs 42 squadrons to maintain its strength and capability. Hence, at the moment, IAF's biggest challenge is to identify and select the right military equipment so that it can build its squadron with its powerful aircrafts. The military equipment induction process in IAF is quite long and complex that can take up to 10 to 15 years, whereas the lifespan of an aircraft is 20 to 30 years. In case of any delay in aircraft acquisition, old aircrafts are not phased out despite the completion of their lifespan. Continuous upgrades and modifications are needed to keep them functional. Hence, after the induction of a new aircraft, within 5 years, the process of its replacement needs to be initiated, so that before its lifespan is over, India is ready with a new aircraft fleet. This way, India doesn't have to compromise its security while waiting for a new aircraft. Moreover, like Tejas aircraft, under schemes like Atmanirbhar Bharat and Make in India, more aircrafts need to be manufactured so that the acquisition process is not a hurdle to the expansion of our squadrons. The shortage of pilots in IAF compared to China and Pakistan is another major problem. Reports suggest that every year for the past few years, 80 to 100 pilots have quit IAF. Needless to say, this is an alarming situation. Many join private airlines for better salaries. In case the number of squadron increases, the shortage of pilots will pose further challenges. This can be dealt with by providing better payment and good working conditions and better remuneration. Did you know that in the union budget, the largest budget allocation goes to the Defense Ministry? Many experts claim that a majority of the allocated budgets goes to the Indian Army. Military analysts claim that the world's battlefields have been transformed. Modern wars would be fought with more space and air-based assets than with ground forces. Hence, India's Defense Ministry needs to shift its focus to modernizing and strengthening assets. There is a need to increase Air Force expenditure so that our air fighters are prepared for any kind of war. So friends, this was an analysis where we have discussed that what are the areas where Indian Air Force needs improvement. Apart from that, this video is quite relevant from the perspective of UPSC mains examination. Questions related to China and Pakistan could be expected in the UPSC GS2 Defense and Security section. So we will leave you with a question related to this topic. You could answer it in the comments below. And the question is, the induction of Rafale jets to the Indian Air Force will be a game changer for India in a war. Justify this statement. And with this question, my friends, that's it for the video. I hope you have liked the video, and if you have, don't forget to share it with your friends. We will meet in next video. Till then, Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.